Alright guys, so yesterday we were able to get the car to fire for the very first time, the first cold start for the boys. Today it's actually time to make the car drive. We fired it up, it dumped some oil on the ground, we got the plug back in the block, which I'm pretty confident that's where the OEM Evo 8 oil pressure sender goes. I guess you'd call it the idiot light that comes up on the dash when there's not much oil pressure left, when you get down to like under 5 psi of oil pressure. So for some reason this car has never had that sender on there, which is kind of weird, but I got to thinking, let me show you guys something real quick. So that is where we have our AEM sender located, and I don't really like how close it is to the CV axle. You can see how close that is. It's a little bit sketchy. And I'm pretty sure that AEM oil pressure sender is the 1/8 inch NPT pipe thread, right? I should be able to just take that and put it right into the location where all the oil shot out of when you forgot to plug. It'd be mounted on the back of the block, not close to the CV axle at all, and I wouldn't really have to worry about it anymore. So I think I may try to do that, but we also need to figure out why our oil pressure gauge is not working before we go ahead and relocate it, just in case that sender is bad. Now, full disclosure, I did kind of cheap out. I did find our oil pressure gauge on eBay. It was supposed to be new. The guy said he bought it and never installed it on his car, but when I got it, the wiring harness had been cut in half. So we got to figure out why the gauge is not actually working. It's turning on, but it just has the 3 dashes on the gauge. Something's either going on with the wiring or the sender could be also bad. So I'm gonna do some digging around real quick, try to figure it out, and if we can figure that out, I want to mount it on the back of the block. That is the hole I'm talking about. That's where the oil came out yesterday. And I believe, I'm 99% sure that is where the factory Evo 8 oil pressure sender will go. I'm gonna peel back that tape right there. It looks like someone already previously made a different connection, so I'm gonna make sure their connection's actually good. That'd be really nice if it's just a broken wire right at the end. So I checked over all the wiring, everything seems to be okay, so I'm just gonna go pull a sensor off of the Evo 10, slap it on here, and see if that fixes the issue, which I'm guessing it's gonna fix the issue. Alright, so guys, we got the new sensor on and it stopped showing the 3 dashes. Now it just showed 0 psi, which I highly doubt there's no oil pressure because of this instance. Obviously, if there's no oil pressure, we wouldn't have shot oil out of the block. I might throw a manual gauge on it for now. I do have a manual gauge. We can just pull out the AEM sender, plug in the manual gauge, and see what we have for oil pressure. And I might just go ahead and order up a brand new gauge because clearly something is going on with this. Used the one I got off eBay. I guess that's where you get the saying, you get what you pay for. Alright guys, we figured it out. So I swapped the sensor, that didn't change anything. I messed with the wiring a ton, all that checked out fine. So I ended up just pulling the gauge itself out of the Evo 10 and slapped it in here, and it's reading now. So the gauge itself is actually bad. I learned my lesson there. I tried to save 50 bucks or whatever, and now we're gonna have to just, return it or try to get our money back somehow and order an actual new gauge up. So I'm gonna clean up everything we just did. I'm just gonna run this Evo 10 one in here for now so we can actually go drive the car, and then when the new one comes in, I'll get this one back in the Evo 10 and just get them swapped over. But let's button some things up and we can start with the break-in process of this brand new engine. All right, so I just went ahead and placed an order over at MAP for an oil cooler kit and a new oil pressure gauge, and also I got an adapter. So I tried to thread in the AEM gauge to where the OEM sender goes, and this is like 1/8 inch BSM or something, like British pipe thread. I don't know what it is. It's not the national pipe thread. So I picked up an adapter. We will be able to put our sender right here for the AEM gauge. I think that's gonna be a lot nicer versus having it on the oil filter housing. A lot safer in my opinion. I just don't like how it's that close to the CV axle. Sketches me out. So real quick guys, I'm gonna throw the wheels on the car. Let's get the car out of the shop and clean up this mess we have on the floor. And then we need to make sure our transfer case is topped off, our engine oil is topped off, our coolant's topped off, and our transmission. We've got to make sure all the fluid levels are good and we can start the break-in process. It's been a minute since I actually broke in a brand new motor. Just went through and double checked the engine oil. We're topped off there. Tranny's good, transfer's good. We're just running water in the radiator right now. And then as soon as I know everything's solid, we'll drain that out and put actual antifreeze in there. But we are ready to start the break-in procedure on this brand new engine. So I always follow the MA Performance break-in procedure. What they recommend is 30-weight break-in oil, which is what we are running in there. And then right after we fire it, we're gonna make sure we don't have any leaks. We already did that. We're good to go there. So we're gonna fire it up again, and we're gonna vary the RPMs from 2 to 3,000 RPM for about 20 minutes straight. And then we're gonna shut it off, let it cool down, make sure all of our fluids are still topped off, good to go, and then we can go on the first drive. The first drive, I'm probably gonna go like 50 miles, obviously not getting into boost, just kind of light load. And then we're gonna come back, change the oil with the same 30-weight break-in oil from AMSOIL, put another 450 miles on it, and then come back and we can swap out the break-in oil for our 5W30 that we usually run from AMSOIL. So let's go ahead and get started with the first 20 minutes, varying the RPM from 2 to 3,000. The car's not really wanting to stay running right now, and it did just throw a check engine light, so I'm going to scan the code, figure out what that is. I have a pretty strong feeling it's the wiring for our intake air temp sensor. How that clip popped off, I kind of just put it back on how I thought it could go, but I may have those two wires flipped around. Yeah, intake air temp sensor, 1 circuit high. This is our intake air temp sensor harness right here. So I'm going to flip the 2 wires and see if that fixes our issue. So no matter what I do, the second I clear the codes come right back on without even firing up the car. PO113, I guess it's the same code. Intake air temp sensor 1 circuit high. So I got to figure out what is going on. Even without starting up the car, the check engine light pops back on. So yeah, let me try to figure this out. So I got the check engine light off. There's no more codes. All it was I didn't have the 2 wires plugged into that connector all the way. So we got that figured out, but the car is still struggling to stay running, and my gas light's on, which kind of worries me that we're not even gonna have enough gas to do this break-in procedure. All right guys, we've been going for like 15 minutes now. I'm just doing a quick power steering bleed as I do this first break-in, and then I need to throw some gas in this car before we run it a little bit lean and mess up our motor or mess up our fuel pump. But oil pressure's good, fuel pressure's good, coolant temp's fine, AFRs seem to be okay. It's kind of hard to tell when you're constantly revving it, but yeah, idle AFRs seem fine. Yeah, I think we're good there. So I'm gonna finish this 20 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left. Slop some gas in it and we can go on our first drive. All right, guys, so we just finished up with the first 20-minute break-in cycle. I'm gonna let it cool all the way down. We have to check over our engine, oil, and check the coolant level as well. Power steering's all bled, so we can throw that cap back on. It was throwing a tiny bit of smoke at the exhaust at first, which had me worried, but we are breaking in the engine, so basically seating the rings to the cylinder walls. About 5 minutes in, it stopped blowing smoke. So I think we should be good to go for our smoking issue. If this thing still smokes, I am going to burn the car to the ground, because it's a new motor, rebuilt head, rebuilt turbo. Every single thing to do with the oiling system on this motor is brand new, so there's no way it'll freaking blow smoke yet. Okay, so she is completely cooled off now. I just threw a little bit of gas in there. I checked the fluids, we're all good to go. We just have a tiny bit of gas in there, enough to get to the gas station, because all I have here is 87 octane. That was the only option we had. But obviously it's not really gonna matter if we're not getting into boost and all that. Just a light cruise to the gas station should be all right. So from here I'm gonna put about 50 miles on the car, and then we're gonna come back, we're gonna change the oil, and then from there we got 450 miles on the 30-weight brake-in oil, and then we should be able to just swap it out for the Amsoil 5W30, and technically you could probably hit the dyno then after 500 miles. A lot of people will even just like start up the car, make sure it's good to go, and then just throw it on the dyno and start tuning from there. But I prefer to, it just feels better in my mind, in my heart, to get a few miles on the car before we turn it up. So yeah, let's head to the gas station. Obviously we're not going to get into boost much, just a light cruise, and we should be good to go. Hopefully we don't run into any issues. Just want to get some miles on the car and then get that oil swapped out. It feels really weird to drive this car and not have a big trail of freaking smoke behind you the whole time. This car was smoking so bad for the last few months, and it feels freaking amazing to just have it done. Have it done, be able to drive it and enjoy it and not worry about adding oil every 5 minutes, even though clearly that didn't help anyway because our freaking mains and rod bearings were both shot. But yeah, I don't see any smoke at all behind me right now. It's amazing. Alright, so here is the current plan. I'm going to shut the car off, we're going to jack it up, check everything out, make sure we don't have any leaks, nothing going on, and we currently have 10 miles on the car. I want to put 40 more miles on the car over the course of today. I'll probably come back and change the oil tomorrow, but I really just want to go drive the car, so we're going to put headlight, hold on, let me turn it off real quick. She built, she's loud. Alright, so here is the plan, guys. We are going to jack it up, make sure we don't have any leaks. I'm going to check over the transfer and tranny oils, make sure those are topped off. Obviously keep an eye all day on our engine oil level, make sure that's good to go. Same thing with the coolant level, make sure that's fine. We still have water in there, I should probably get that changed out soon. I'll probably do that tomorrow though when we change the oil. Just keep an eye on everything all day, make sure we're all good. The car is running absolutely amazing, no issues whatsoever. AFRs seem to be okay. They're always a bit lean at idle, like full lean at idle for some reason. It's always been like that, so we should probably get that dialed in. Car's running absolutely amazing, no issues whatsoever, no check engine lights anymore after we got that intake air temp sensor fixed. I'm just gonna throw some headlights back on it. I sold the freaking JDM headlights. So we are going to install my OEM Evo 8 headlights that have like the blue in them. Throw the bumper on, and then we should be able to go on a drive, just freaking enjoy the car for once, because I feel like we're at the point now with this car that we can actually enjoy it. We are going to turn it up some more, obviously go on E85, planning on doing flex fuel and making some really, really good power, but that is not going to happen for a little bit. Obviously we have to get this engine broken in, but I feel like this is the turning point of the car where it's actually going to start getting reliable. At least I hope. I feel like ever since we got this car, there's been so many issues that we've had to fix. We've done the transfer case. The tranny thankfully has always been fine. We had a clutch issue. We had a head gasket leak. We had, what else? turbo issues. We've blown multiple turbos on it, but this time around I decided it's time to just do everything. So completely brand new motor, rebuilt head, rebuilt turbo. It has the proper transfer case in there. It has a new clutch. It has everything done to it. So I think it's actually going to be reliable and enjoyable for once in its freaking life. Let's hope it is. I'm gonna laugh if we go drive it and we start having issues again, but I truly honestly believe that we're gonna not have any issues with this car for a very long time. It feels so good to have this car back. Not only because we got to drive the car and enjoy it now, but because I'm also allowed to now get a haircut and shave. I made an appointment for tomorrow, so we can't get a haircut today, but we can still freaking shave this beard off, which I don't mind the beard. The beard's I could live with the beard, but the freaking hair, this hair's got to go. So hopefully tomorrow we can get this haircut. For now we can wear a hat at least, because that was one of the rules as well, is that I'm not allowing myself to wear a hat or get a haircut or shave until this Evo is back up and running. So yeah, this thing's running freaking amazing, guys. I'm actually very, very surprised, I guess, because it seems like you always have, you know, little issues here and there, especially when it's a full-on build like this one was. A few little issues here and there. The only issue we had was the check engine light. That was easy fix, plug in a wire all the way, and the oil leak coming out of the plug on the block. That was it. Two really, really simple fixes, both like 5-minute fixes. So I'm very happy with that. I'm stoked. Let's go on a cruise. Try to get 50 miles on this thing today, which should be very, very easy to do. And then we can go back home, change the oil tomorrow. So we have our first issue, guys. I was cruising on the road, everything was going fine. It started sputtering out, it died, and I started checking over a few things, and it turns out I don't have, we're not getting any fuel pressure whatsoever. So I checked the fuel pump relay, or the fuel pump fuse, that's fine, but obviously there's something going on with the fuel pump. It's not giving us any pressure at the regulator, so I don't think it's gonna be a bad fix, but I think I jinxed it about 30 minutes ago when I said that we're not gonna have any more issues. It should be an easy fix though. We recently hardwired the Walbro 450 fuel pump to constantly have 12 volts, right? And we have a relay in there, and that relay somehow came unplugged from the harness. I don't know how that happened, but it was a very, very easy fix. Took about 2 seconds to diagnose. So yeah, let's get back on the road. That connection's tight on the relay too, so I literally have no clue how it came disconnected. But yeah, easy fix like I expected, and she's up and running. Now we're gonna have no issues, I hope. I have been looking forward to this moment for like a week now. Damn, that feels good. I'm gonna lose like 10 years. Go from like 35 to 25 real quick. Oh my God. It's like I got pubes on the side of my head. All right, that's a little more of my style. I look so weird with no facial hair. I'm so used to it. I was so used to it. Now we just need this cleaned up and we will be back on track, not looking like a freaking bum. Evo 8 ran fantastic after we fixed the little fuel pump issue, the hardwire issue. We're good to go now, made it to the apartment just fine, and now we're gonna throw some more miles on it tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Evo 8 is back. Evo 8's running good. Evo 8 is not smoking for once. About the first time I've ever not seen smoke. At least a little bit of smoke come out of that car. It smoked a little bit since the day I got that damn thing, so I'm very, very happy with it now. Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode. Oh, stretchy boy, stretchy boy. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.